Hello and welcome to another edition of the GetGrowing Weekly Work Session with GetOiling. I'm Coach Ashley. Today we are joined by founder of GetOiling, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hello, how's it going?
Great. We also have Julie here from our team, as well as Jessica and Colin, and a couple of very special guests. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Macy. Oh, where'd your head go?
Oh, is this the first time the two of them have like met on video?
No.
So. Okay. I
don't know. Is it
the first time I've seen them, like, to where they can maybe even interact? I don't know. It's cute. Hi guys, it's bring your kids to work day. Mine's, well, yeah. Anyway, I hope you are doing great wherever you are in the world, and would love to hear from you what you're working on this week, where you are in the world, in the comments. So go on into our chat here if you're here with us live. We always love to hear from you. Today we're going to be talking about content and blogging. So last week we talked about sort of the question of like, can I grow Young Living without social media? And it's a challenging answer because I want to empower you toward things that really feel good and right for you and your business. But I also want to give you really the soundest advice here, right? Now, if you would like to remove yourself from social media as much as functionally possible, you do need to have a presence there. And that's something that we talked about in a previous training. But if you want to be able to control how you work so that you are interacting with the right people when you need to, when you want to, then creating content is going to be an absolute miracle for you, big picture. So today we are going to get into how to do that. So I am excited to hear from maybe you guys in the chat. Let me know if you are already blogging. I am going to be sharing an example of a GetOiling blog today that's absolutely gorgeous and run really beautifully. And that is something that's actually working to grow that person's list of leads and to, of course, help those people become Young Living customers. So you'll actually see an example of this in real life today as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and stop video, as we all will by Sweet Babies. We will get into our slides and we'll all come back together on video here at the close of the call. So I've got slides for you today. Do keep that coming in the chat. I've got my eye on it. But if you do have questions, if you need support with something, please do make sure that you head over to the Q&A so that we don't miss anything that you've sent our way. All right, so today we're going to talk about setting up and running a blog. And really, even before we get into setting up and running a blog, I want you to understand the utility of a blog for your business, because this is something that actually takes a little bit of time to set up and to run and maintain on an ongoing basis. And it's not always easy to logically see the connection between writing articles and getting new Young Living customers, right? You can go out and get a new Young Living customer today by walking up to somebody and having a conversation. I think it's important that I put out here a caveat that this is not something that I would recommend as a complete replacement to the things that have always worked to grow this business. But we look at this as a supplement to one of the things that we must do in order to grow, which is find more people that are interested in becoming healthier, setting better habits, and of course helping them to achieve those, right? So that's what we're going to get into here today. So here's what we'll do. First, we're going to talk about how blogging fits into the bigger picture of your Young Living brand partner business. Then we'll talk about how to set up and run your blog, and I'll also include a link to additional training to support your growth if you choose to follow this strategy. It is going to be something that's more of like a next level thing, so don't worry about diving into it just yet. If you're just getting started or just being introduced to the idea of this being something you might want to do, let's start with this one that we're here with today. And then, of course, we are here for live help and Q&A as well, and website reviews. So if you've got questions or you need support, please add questions that you need help with to the Q&A so that we don't miss them. Of course, keep your conversations going in the chat. We always love to see the community here interacting. If you're watching this as a replay, on YouTube, what's a replay? GetOiling.com/weekly work session is where you can hop on the list and join us on one of these live calls that we're having here today. And if you want one-on-one help, as I believe one or more people may have signed up for today, you can go to GetOiling.com/website review, and you can sit down with us and walk through whether it be your website or just, wrapping your head around where to get started. There is no wrong answer to the question of what do you need. Just go to getoiling.com/website review, and you'll be able to select a time on an upcoming call like this to work one-on-one in dedicated space, which we hold at the end of the session. All right, now, I do see some answers coming into this. Are you creating content to attract leads and grow your business? Let me see the answers I've got here so far. I've been putting it off because of time and fear. Heard, okay. I have no idea what blogging is and how to blog. Excited to learn, excellent. Amanda hasn't blogged since 2017, would like to. Heidi does blog. Any recommendations on how to drive people to your blog and website? Yes, we're gonna talk a little bit about that today for sure. Jenny blogs, but not consistently, working on changing that. Sheila has a weekly blog. Sherry's never blogged. Annie wrote 5 blog posts maybe and years ago. Someone read one I made on knitting and connected with me because of it. I'm shocked it works. Knitting, yes, knitting, okay. Awesome. So, all right, excellent. What we are going to be doing today is learning exactly how to get this thing done. So what blogging is, at the end of the day for your business, is content. And content plays a really critical role in building trust and credibility. Now, why would someone choose to buy Young Living products at your recommendation? The answer is that they trust you. They trust your recommendations. They find you to be a credible source of information where it comes to whatever that recommendation was that you made. And that know, like, and trust factor is something that it's typically very present in the people that we're already close to, right? Our close friends and family, what we will often call warm market, people that we know or that know us pretty well, right? Trust and credibility is something that in a belly-to-belly sense, in a person-to-person sense, in real life off of the internet, this is something that is, it's relatively easy to build trust in others because of your proximity or your familiarity or time, right? But if we want to reach a whole lot more people who could become our customers, as a Young Living brand partner, we've got to be able to take this building trust and credibility piece and allow it to happen without us being there one-on-one. Right. And this is kind of where, you can build trust and credibility in the DMs or, the private messages on social media platforms if you're putting yourself out there. But that takes a lot of time. And again, I'm not saying don't do it. Don't stop doing the things that have worked for you, but consider making some key shifts so that you can have more people arriving to you who you maybe didn't really know very well personally already, who already find you trustworthy and credible and are interested in what it could look like for them working with you or learning more from you. Does that make sense? Let me know. Give me a yes. All right, what content also does is it positions you as a professional. If your only presence online is on social media, you are a number. You are as everyone else. Everybody on social media is out there, and everybody on social media, has hobbies, right? Or has opinions, right? Every other person on the internet, right, has hobbies, has opinions. You don't look like a hobbyist. You look like a professional when you have content, right? Because that's you showing up beyond the shallow pools of social media and providing something of substance, right? This really works to set you apart. Even before it ever brings you leads, it will set you apart from everyone else because you've done the work to establish yourself, and it's worth doing, right? So I've got this little guy here, and if you want to let me know in the chat if you'd like to have a copy of this for your use and for your reference, let me know, and I'll make sure to make a version of this that we can put in the downloads or in the description section on our YouTube channel. What we're looking at here. Okay, that's a whole lot of yeses. We will. Okay, and y'all are so polite. Yes, please. Awesome. So what you're looking at here, I actually just made this earlier today. This is your pipeline as a brand partner, right? And there are different stages of your pipeline that people go through before they actually become your customer, right? So to start, and this is at the very top of this funnel-shaped object we're looking at here. At the very top of this is, again, your warm market, people that know you, any kind of regular activity you have on your social media profiles. And I think live events like vendor events fall into this as well, right? This is where you get seen. This is how you connect with new people. This is how you expand your social circle. Maybe your networking events could fall into this as well as an in-person live event, that kind of thing, right? So it's how you meet new people and they become acquainted with you. Presence is acquaintance, right? Content is substance. This is where you become seen as an authority and you become trusted for what you know. Now, there are people who already know you, who know you for certain things, and that's great. In order for us to get a lot more people, a lot more interested in what we have to say so that we can get a lot more potential customers for Young Living, we need to be able to position ourselves so that other people who come upon our presence, which we should have, and this is why social media is a critical piece of the puzzle for you. The reason why it becomes a problem is because it's an end all. Content is the substance that supports your presence, right? Content is where you show up and say, you know, if you're on social media, you show up and you give an opinion, you say a thing like anybody could. But if they go to your website and like you've got stuff that you're posting and publishing there that's backing up the things that you're saying, you are instantly more credible than the next person who goes and makes a claim, says a thing, shares something, right? So content, and while some people will call social media posts and stuff content, that is a type of content. Content that I'm talking about here is legacy content, meaning things that can be found for many months and years over after you've created it. That's not true of social posts, but it is true of things like blog articles, YouTube videos, and podcasts. And then I also want to make sure that we include in here as authoritative content, if you are a speaker, if you give keynote addresses, if you are, brought to, give a presentation. And again, this presentation wouldn't be like, here is, an essential oils 101 and, talk about Young Living, pitch the kit at the end. I don't mean speaking like that. I mean, you're showing up and you are talking about the reason someone would want to remove toxins from the home. Young Living could be introduced into that, but you're showing up as a credible authority, as someone who has done the research, published some articles, made some videos. You're an educator on this topic, right? That kind of speaking. And then finally, books. If you are someone who has published, if you've self-published or published otherwise, books fall into this content category as well. These are the things, again, that set you apart from every other Joe Blow on the internet who has something to say, right? Now, qualification. This is where someone becomes a lead, right? This is where someone goes from, they've seen you, maybe they've heard some stuff that you've said, and now they're actively interested in moving to the next step to learn more from you. Now, your funnel, and we do talk about funnels a lot on this channel, and we have a free course on creating those. A funnel is just basically a way on an automated basis for anybody who finds your content to raise your hand and say, hey, I'd like to hear more from you. Hey, I'd like that free thing that you're giving away. Hey, I have that problem that you help people solve. Right? We're allowing people 24/7, 365, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, to opt themselves in to find more solutions from us. And they are now in our GetOiling contact manager. They're a lead. That's a great person for us to go and try to have a conversation with about oils, right? Way better than the stuff that the folks that are way up here on the top, right? Of course, some people will skip the content piece, right? Your warm market can skip straight from the content, skip the content piece over completely, go straight from I'm connected to you to, hey, let's talk about solving that problem that you have. But again, what we're trying to do here is to put you in a position where your warm market is huge, right? And it's made up of people in a lot of cases that you've never, like, you don't even know them yet, but they're warm to you. They're interested in you and what you have to say. That's the phenomenon we're trying to create here, okay? So qualification can happen when people opt into a funnel to get something for free from you. Qualification can also happen in a conversation. So this can be belly to belly, it could be virtual, it could be in the DMs, it could be texting, phone, depending on how your email, depending on how you're connected to somebody. And that's where, they say to you in a qualification, in a conversation, they are interested in learning X thing from you, in solving whatever problem. And they said, yeah, I'd love to sit down with you and talk through what that could look like, right? This can happen in the DMs. And I put a consult here as well, because I know some of us have, like a wellness consult funnel, something to that effect, where we have people fill out an intake form. We ask them some key questions about themselves and their goals. And then, of course, at the next stage, exposure, we sit down on a one-on-one with them to help them build a plan for achieving that goal. And then, of course, introducing the products that are going to help them get there, right? So that's qualification. This is what we're trying to do, is bring as many people as possible into this central category right here, qualification. These are people who like you, they know who you are, they trust what you have to say. These are going to be the best people in the world to share Young Living with. anytime. We want to build this. And in order to do this, we have to have content, right? Now, of course, the final piece that we're all very familiar with, at the exposure level, that's where they get shared, Young Living. And then, of course, at the conversion level, that's when they sign up, right? Now, note, I am talking to network marketers. This is a network marketer brand partner pipeline. If you are really into social selling and that's your jam, I still do recommend 100% of the time, all the time, if you want retained customers long-term, that you have some portion of this process built into the design of your business. Because if you don't have personal relationships with your customers, you have a bucket with holes in it, right? And we can prevent that bucket from having holes in it, and we can keep it from leaking with our relationships, right? So that's a conversation for a whole other day. All right, so I promise I will make sure this is available for you guys to download. All right, so that's this is the same funnel, right? The same funnel from a top-down perspective. So if we were to take that guy that we were just looking at flat with the triangular shape going down, and we were to go in and make it whole, 3D, and we look over the top of it, that's what this is. The top layer is your presence, then we've got our content, then we qualify, we convert, then they become our customer, okay? So this is your target model. It's your bullseye model of that funnel. This is what it actually looks like though, right? This is just to show you, here's this, here's that, right? But if we look at this in real practice, it's a little wonky. It's like this, right? The more accurate view of this funnel, if you want to leave the social media hustle, right? So you're always going to need to have a presence to share your content. But, what do we need to make that presence something that isn't us just showing up and posting all the time about whatever we can come up with to post? It's content, right? Now, let's kind of break this down again from this target level. So this presence, this is where you put yourself out there, right? This is your posts on social media, it's your vendor events, it's your warm market, it's your daily life, right? It's where people interact with you in a generally pretty passive way, right? This ultimately serves to direct people toward your content, right? If you meet somebody at a vendor event, where do you want them to go? To your website, right? So that they can become a qualified lead, right? So that you can have a conversation with them, and in that conversion, move them toward being a customer, right? So what we're doing here with our content is we are taking people from the shallow pool on the outside of our presence into a place of substance where things are really interesting to them and maybe help them solve problems. And then of course, in this place, they are most likely to be exposed to opportunities to become your leads, to become qualified, okay? So content is credibility. People become qualified leads when they opt into your website, right? That's your funnel, to share their interest with you one-on-one, or to book a consult with you. We want so many of these qualified leads. To get them, we have to have substance out there beyond social media, right? So this means that they know that you know what you're talking about, and that they've expressed readiness to learn from you and potentially work with you. If people from this level of your little target model here were the only people that ever showed up to your in-person events, you would have, a room full of brand new customers every time you presented, right? But that's not how we typically go about things, right? So we want to make sure that we have as many people here as possible, because we'd all be better served with that, right? We'd all be better served with more people who have already said, yes, I want to learn from you. I believe you're someone who could help me solve my problems, right? If we had so many more people who thought that way about you, you would have enough people today to hit your next rank, right? So from there, from qualification, they're ready to take the next steps with you. You consult with them one-on-one, help them pick the right products, set up accountability with them so we can make sure they're going to get the result that they want. And then of course, you sign them up, right? They become your customer. You set them up with the products that they need and connect them to the education that you want to share with them, all right? So our goal from blogging and creating content is to get more qualified leads, so we can grow our list of potential customers, so we can focus our time on working with people who are ready to be helped and make a commitment to change and actually use products they're going to fall in love with right now. So before we get into how to blog, this is an essential training that you're eventually going to want to check out as well. It's on our channel. It's called SEO Simplified. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel and type in SEO, and you will find that training there. But don't get quite into that until you've gone through what we're talking about here today. Okay, so now let's talk about setting up and running a blog. So we're going to talk about setting up your blog. I'm going to walk through it with a real brand partner example. I want to share on the next slide a publishing workflow. So there's actually a series of steps you can follow to save yourself a lot of time and headache with this. We're going to talk about syndication after that. And while we're up and setting up blogs and everything, we're going to talk about some best practices. So let's talk about our publishing workflow first. I always want to recommend that you are batching the activities that you're performing as much as possible. Right. And this is only possible if you really know what the stuff is that you're doing and what their constituent parts are. So if you know that you need to make a blog post a week, for instance, which is definitely something that I would recommend, obviously at the very least do it once a month or even bi-weekly. Weekly is going to be really great. So batch actions wherever possible, and then decide on your 4 blog titles for the month. You could actually sit down and do this for the quarter, right? And have 16 blog titles that you've picked out, and you know which week you want to do what. Right? So sit down and plan this out. So you've already got it figured out. You don't have to try to sit down and be creative and strategic at the same time. We're actually a lot better equipped to be creative here, strategic here, and technical here. When we try to sit down and do all 3 at a time, we get overwhelmed, right? So split these things up into their constituent parts. So decide on your blog titles, then in one go, write out your posts in a word processor. The best time to write a blog post is right after the last one, right? The best time you did anything is right after you did a thing just like it before it, right? The best time to do something is right after you did it. So write out those blog posts in a word processor, not inside of your GetOiling system. Write out the words you want to say and share and use, and then create a graphic. Go into Canva, create 4 graphics, right? Simple enough. And then compose your blogs in GetOiling. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Best time to set up and modify and do a blog post is right after you did the one before it, because you're going to remember exactly how to do it, right? So compose those blogs in GetOiling and schedule their publication, because we do want to release these once a week. And then we get into syndication. So syndication is sharing. That's just making sure that your stuff gets out there. And so if you're curious about how to get more people to see your stuff, you want to make sure that you are just building a consistent flow of what you're doing, so that when more people, again, get exposed to you in that top layer of your business pipeline, they will have more opportunities to engage with the content that you create. It really is a game of consistency. And if you're already blogging, that SEO training that I mentioned is going to help you to really make sure that that's working best for you as well, so that you can get found when people are Googling things, for instance. All right, so what we want to do, of course, remember to batch actions wherever possible. So we want to write 4 emails in this case. So for each blog post that you wrote, you want to put a link to that blog post in an email and send a quick email out, or schedule in this case, which I'll talk about in a second, to everyone who signed up to get updates from you, right? And that email is going to encourage them to go read the post. Then we're going to schedule those emails out so that there is one email that goes out per post to your entire list, or the list that subscribes to you the day that it drops, right? So if you have, if you're going to be publishing your blog posts on Mondays, and you've just written your 4 blog posts for the next month, you're going to schedule those blog posts out. You've got their images made, you put them into GetOiling, you grab those links, and now you're going to go in and you're going to filter your list for your contacts who signed up for your newsletter, and you're going to write email for week 1 and put the blog link to week 1, schedule it to go out on that Monday. Then you're going to create the next email, schedule it to go out the next Monday, and so on, right? And then we're going to make a social post as well. And this is where you take this a step further, because we do want to use our presence on social media to push our content out and to really get people used to the idea that you are someone leading substantive conversations that they can come participate in if they're interested in the stuff you're talking about. Because really, again, what we're trying to do is increase the numbers of who gets through this whole pipeline, so that there are enough people, it is a numbers game, who are interested right now, and so that those people can take action, right? And the whole purpose of building your list means that when people aren't ready right now, but they like you, they're in the pipeline and get these posts when you make them because you're sending them out via email. And one day they decide they are ready and they've been warmed up over time in a very passive way by you because you've been sharing content that's helpful to them, right? So we're going to write a social post to promote each blog post. So again, if it's dropping on Monday, this is going to be a post that goes out Monday 1, Monday 2, and so on. And then again, in Canva, you can use the resize feature and just turn the graphic that you made for your blog post into a social graphic, right? Into a Facebook or Instagram graphic, or Pinterest, all of them, whatever you wanted to use, do it on all of them. Then you schedule one email per post, again, to go out to your list the day that it drops. And you schedule those social posts for the date that you send out, that the blog post goes live and that you send out the email, right? So best practices here before we get into actually setting this up. Remember, your blog and your website, if you have a custom website, your blog is not about Young Living. Young Living has their own blog. They don't need you to blog about their products, right? You can mention their products. It's just, it needs to not be the main thing that you talk about, right? Your content on your website should be about things that the customer that you want to attract cares about right now. Something that they're searching for, something they're looking for an answer to, something they relate to. Because if you're showing up on your blog and all you're talking about is the products that you sell, then this is promotional content. And I mean, none of us really love promotional content, right? How many of us really love being sold to if we haven't asked to be sold to, right? So bringing up Young Living as a, here's my favorite diffuser recipe for XYZ thing, that's a fine thing to write about. And in that article, you can say, hey, by the way, it matters what oils you use. Here is another article that I wrote, or here's a page that I have on my site that talks about what I use and why I recommend it, right? But you don't make the whole post about Young Living products, right? And then your content, finally, critically, guys, is about helping your aligned person get what they want, because they're going to keep coming back if they feel like you are someone that's there to help them, right? They're going to trust you if we go about it this way. And of course, this is our opportunity to build our list. If somebody stumbles upon this blog post, like Annie was mentioning earlier, she made a blog post about knitting and somebody reached out to her, right? This is the kind of thing that can happen. People can just find your blog post because Google loves blogs. They love published articles, right? So if somebody's just arriving there and they don't know you from Adam and they like what you have to say, give them an opportunity to stay in touch, right? Give them a free thing and say, hey, if you liked this, you'll really like this. All you got to do is give me your name and email, promise I won't spam you, right? So give them that free thing they can opt into, put that on your post, and then encourage interaction and be clear on what you want them to do next. All right, so let's go see a great GetOiling blog and learn some basics on how to set yours up and get yours published. So I'm going to get out of this share and into another one where we're going to go and look really quick at, you may find her familiar. This is a member of our community that actually did a really great Canva training a while back. As you can see, she has a beautiful website with really great dialed in branding. She's an absolute genius on Canva and among other things. And this is in Dutch. So if you don't read Dutch, it's okay, because it's really about the design that I want to show you here. One thing importantly, you don't see that the Young Living is the same in every language, right? So you don't see Young Living mentioned here. And you really don't see it mentioned anywhere on her site. What she's talking about, this is for coaches and consultants, right? And she helps them to build their dream business. So on the blog, you can see if we scroll through her blog, she's using excerpts and great featured images. And so there's a congruency as we scroll down through this page where, we can see the title of the post, and there's something kind of similar in each of them. She's got these great pictures of her. She's so cute. And she has all kinds of amazing content. And all of this is for, in her case, business builders, entrepreneurs who want to show up online. And so she's teaching about things like webinars and marketing strategies, sales funnels, sales pages, challenges, things like this. But you see how all these images, they're the same size, they're the similar color palette, and it's her kind of stamp. It looks like her. and it looks really good. And she's also got this great little sidebar here where she's offering something you can opt in. This is a free workshop. Of course, this will show up in your blog as well as your blog categories if you're using them, and recent posts, right? And so yeah, so let's go over and kind of walk through what it means to have a blog post, right? Let's look at Katinka's blog post, and then we'll actually go in and look at setting one up so that it's awesome like hers, and then also how you can set up your blog post. So this is an actual blog post itself, right? So if I'm on, this is her website.com/blog is where you have all of these, right? And that's going to be the same for you. Your GetOilingWebsite.com/blog will show all of the blog posts that you have in order. So let's go to this one about sales funnels. And in this particular case, she's got, again, it's that same image that she has on the actual page, on that blog page. And then she's got, and I mentioned this in the SEO training, she's got headline fonts. This is definitely, you know, a keyword that Google's going to want to see, just as an example. She's using, again, more keywords. She's got some cute images here that are really kind of helping to draw the eye down and keep people reading. Really using stuff like this and these images are really helpful to keep someone on a page, because a good blog post per Google is going to be, you know, a little bit long, you know, about 1,000 words. And so if it's just a big chunk of text, people aren't really going to want to read it. Like that little, you know, the 2-year-old in our brain is like, show me the pictures, right? And so if we provide some visual interest with the headlines, people can even kind of scroll down to the part that they're kind of looking for in terms of, you know, the thing that's most interesting to them. And then of course, you've got these really great images that you can optionally include here, right? You can use formatting as well, your bullet points, that kind of stuff. So really make sure that you've got this stuff you know, worked out in a word processor before you show up. Now, this guy right here, starting with these little dashes, this is something that shows up at the bottom of every single one of her blog posts. And this is actually a freebie that she gives away. So this is where I was talking about having a place where people can opt in and get something at the bottom of your posts. This is something that you could set up once and automatically apply to all of your blog posts, which is a huge time saver, right? And of course, we do have a comment section and you can see additional posts as well. So let's go ahead and go over to Jane's account and GetOiling and go scroll down to Zoom events and blog. I'm going to click blog posts and then go to blog settings. All right, so in this case, if you have this already, you can show the blog feed from Young Living. This would show up in your only in your built-in themes though. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this, because if you are going to be creating your own content, you don't need to import somebody else's anymore into your site. So you can give it a name. So Jane is the Happy Holistic Mama. So this is the Happy Holistic blog. You don't have to put anything here. You can, you know, just allow it to say blog of your name, right? Whatever that might be. Don't get too hung up on the name here. Now, in this case, Jane has an image in the blog header, but if we notice, and I actually think this looks better, on Katinka's blog, her blog site, all she has is blooming blog right here. There's no images, there's nothing like that. I actually think it looks really clean, it looks really nice. And so if I wanted to make mine look a little more like hers, I would delete this. And of course you do need to have the name. This is where she would have put blooming blog. Now the footer, the blog page footer, this is going to live at the bottom of each page in the blog, on the blog post, and on the blog archive page. This is going to be, and I'll show you what this looks like here in a second. This is going to be at the very bottom, right? But here's the individual post footer. So where we saw at the bottom, get away from her homepage here, at the bottom of her blog post, where we have, you know, did this blog help you? Consider sharing it with a friend. Here's a cute little picture. You know, ask a question, you have a freebie. This right here, where this shows up on her blog post, this is going to be right here, this individual post footer. So highly recommend, if you have a funnel that's created already that you're offering, absolutely put the landing page or the page with the lead form of that funnel into this post footer with a clear call to action so that folks can take advantage of what you're offering and become your leads, right? Now, this part here is your sidebar content, right? Sidebar content is, if I scroll up, this stuff, right? So where you can see where, she's asking, hey, well, what is this thing? You can join me on this free workshop. And she's linking an image here to go off to that page. And this actually takes them over, to a page where people can register for a webinar style workshop. It's a recording, I believe. And so you can actually put that right here, okay? Extra sidebar code is where you can embed things like third-party content or tools. So like this really amazing thing that you see on Katinka's site, when we go back here to her page, I believe, and Greg, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, I believe that is where this lives. And this is actually a third-party tool that Katinka is using that is made by the same people that make Typeform forms. And so it just allows for this cute little video to play. And if we click it, it's called Video Ask. There we go. So it is a third-party tool, and you do have the ability to put something like that on your page if you wanted to, which I think just looks so cool. And then a final thing, and this is really cool, it's something that Katinka does as well, which is really smart, is when people comment on her blog post. So let's just go to this one. I don't know if there's no comments on this one, but either way, if someone leaves a comment here, she has an automation that she attaches here to anyone who leaves a comment. It's going to send them an email that says, thanks for leaving a comment, how can I help you, or something like that. And then it's got a tag as somebody who has commented on the blog. So you can actually capture those as leads that you can use in one way or another. Although I would make sure that you are very clear if somebody is tagged as, they've just posted on your blog, we don't want to assume that means they want every other email that we send out. So do be mindful about that. So if we go to advanced options down here, this is where we can choose in our built-in theme. That's, all the ones that come out of the box when you get started with GetOiling. You can show blog posts here. You can show recent posts on this page in the archive. There's a maximum number of posts. That's yourwebsite.com/blog is where that shows up. And then the random post to show, that's going to be at the bottom of the individual blog post. So like, how many of these do we want to see? And so you can modify that here as well. And you can also make some changes to upcoming events that show on your built-in themes here. You can choose whether or not people automatically get their blog comments approved. You can show publication dates. And of course, you can show your name or not. And then of course, if you wanted the blog to be your homepage, you could certainly do that as well. It's a cool thing to do. So if we save those changes, then we've got our general blog setup complete. And now we can actually get into making our posts. And this is sort of the final piece here. So we can see that we actually have a few posts in here already. Let's actually go and view Jane's site and check out the blog so that you can see what it looks like. So this is that sidebar content here. You can see some of the blog categories, her recent posts, and you can see the different posts that have been made here, different examples, right? And then of course, down here at the very bottom, remember, we do have this footer that we set up, and this is actually inviting people to get access to a freebie. Okay, and you do have, and you can choose in your My Story and Photo whether or not your story and photo shows up on individual blog posts or in the blog archive, which is this. So let's get into making blog posts, and then of course we do have 2 website reviews that I want to make sure that we get into today as well. So let me show you, when you go to write a post, you're just going to click this button right here. Obviously, if you've written this already, as you certainly should, then you're basically just going to be copying and pasting your title. And then when you paste your content in from your word processor, please make sure that you are pasting plain text. And so that is, we go to this more text menu, we go to paste plain text, paste all of it in, hit paste into document, and then go and apply the different settings that you want to the post, right? And again, make sure if you've got some great keywords, if you want to change headers and things like that. So for instance, in this particular blog post for Katinka, this is a header font. And to get that, which is different from the rest of this, we're going to go here from paragraph. So I'm going to say title text, and body text. And title text here, I'm going to make heading 1, right? And so it's nice and big here, right? And then of course we can, you know, add images and things like this to this post. You know, whatever you want to add, right? So I'll just add this one for now. Obviously not the best image to include here. One other thing where we're composing our blog posts that you have access to in your saved replies, if you want to have sort of a preset format that you want to follow that's already designed and you want to maybe keep that the same every time you post, I love using the newsletter templates for this purpose because it gives you a place to replace an image. It's kind of already got some of these things worked out. And then if you want a button, you've got a button there. Another option is, and I was trying to remember which one it is that I really like the most. I think it's 2. Yeah, because it's got the 2 different images, right? So this, of course, it is set up like a newsletter. You're not going to use it exactly as it's shown here because, you know, for instance, read more. We want them to stay on this page and read this blog post, right? So we wouldn't have that. So anyway, you can use these to kind of format your posts as well, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so once we've got this set up the way that we want it, we do want to make sure, and in the case of Katinka, she absolutely includes her image at the top of her blog post that she's created. So going back over here, this image she puts at the top of her blog post and it looks really nice. And so she put that here. And that's, and then you also want to use that same image as a featured image, because if you notice in Katinka's blog archive, these same images are showing up on the archive as well as in the post, right, as the top one. So the way that we get that done is we actually put it at the top of the post, but we also want to make sure we have a featured image because the featured image is what is going to show on the blog archive page, right? Then of course, blog categories. I would keep these, and I talk about this more in the SEO training, keep these more aligned to keywords you want to use. So is it healthy living? Is it moms? Is it, you know, green living or whatever that might be? And again, this needs to be something that is relevant to them. So a post category here should not maybe be thieves or Ningxia. It should be wellness or, you know, green living or something like that. And of course, that's where you might find posts that might mention thieves, but thieves as a category is not going to matter to the person that we want coming to your blog who's not a customer yet, right? Okay. So I do not recommend using this specifically because this actually creates, you could use an app notification. I do like the idea of using an app notification, but the thing that we really want to do is not to send them the entire content of the blog when it publishes, because now they have no reason to come to your website and click any link in your email, both of which are advantageous to you. But we want to send them a quick message that's, you know, hey, today I'm thinking about blah, blah, blah thing. And by the way, I actually just wrote a blog post about this. So you should come check it out. So that's why we're doing the syndication that I mentioned to you earlier, where you're emailing the links to these blog posts out, as opposed to just giving them the whole substance of the post in the email. Okay. So if you use anything here, I would use the app notification. Finally, let's get into our advanced options. This will be available everywhere. If you're scheduling one of these for later, you go to publish later here, you pick the date and time you want it to drop. You can change created dates if you wanted to in the future. So say you wrote something a year ago and you want to republish and reshare it, you can change the date of an existing blog post, for instance, with this field. Allow comments if you want them. Remove this. Do not show the featured image on the post, because remember, we're putting our image at the top of the post. And if we're showing the featured image on the post, it's going to show it twice. And that's not going to look very nice. So do not show the featured image on the post. And then importantly, if we want this to look so lovely on the archive page, like we see for Katinka, we want to make sure that we have excerpts. And so that's just a little, you know, little tiny paragraph, couple of sentences from the post itself. You're just going to pop that in here. And that's what's going to create this little text that's right here on the page. And as you can see, as we scroll through, there's just a little bit of information that's in each of these, right? And it's just enough to get us to want to click and bring them in. The point of the created date, it really has a lot to do, I think, more with SEO and about the content being fresh. So if you made a blog post that was like, you know, the 4 best essential oils of 2022 or something like that, and you wanted to maybe update that for 2023, you could go and change this date, right? That's kind of what that's for. So you have your author here that you can add, and then this is something that we do go over more in your SEO training. However, your meta description is something that I would encourage you to go ahead and put in, because this is going to show up when you share this blog post on social media. If you were to actually just put the link in. Although, to be fair, I think one of the better ways to share your blog post on social media is to create a nice graphic image like this one that Katinka created, and she could basically post this image and have it say new blog post XYZ title, and then just put a link there. But if you are sharing a link and it's populating the information from the page, this is the field that's going to be populating information from. So you could use a couple of key sentences from the sort of main point of your blog post and put that here, and that's going to be a great thing to have here long term as well for your search engine optimization. So from there, we publish the post, and of course, if we have it scheduled for a future date, it's going to be saved to schedule and go out on a future date, right? And that's basically it. And if you're not done, if you want to save it, just go ahead and click save, and this becomes a draft that you can go back and modify the date later. So even if you're just getting into the idea of blogging and you're wanting to follow up on something that Janelle Bass shared with us a few weeks ago, if you want to if you've got 5 minutes and you've got an idea, go make a blog post draft, right? Put a couple of things in there, put the title in, save it as a draft, and that's going to be a really useful thing there. So Cornelia, the HTML tags, that's something that we go over more in the SEO training. And that's going to be more related to that kind of thing. If we update the created date, does updated date need to be added to the top of the post? I do see people say updated for whatever the year is on posts. And again, definitely recommend you check out the SEO video that goes into a little bit more granular detail on those strategies. But Cliff's Notes, it's not an exact science, because the people who create the algorithms or enforce the algorithms aren't exactly forthcoming with what exactly gets used for ranks. So there are great educated guessers out there that create excellent SEO training content on the web. I do not count myself among them, but we do have a great overview of how SEO strategies connect into our system, and we make some recommendations in that video about taking things a step further. So yeah, without further ado, we've got a couple of website reviews we need to get into today. So Susan, if you are here, let me see. Susan Palma, are you here? Got you signed up for a call. Susan and Bertha, we could go with whoever's first. I do see you here, Bertha. So yeah, Bertha, let's talk. Hi.
Unmute. Hey there.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do we want to get into today?
Just a quick one. Been struggling with the settings for the campaign messages.
Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to cooperate for me to when I actually want it on the calendar and when it's set. So I can help you with that.
Yeah, here, let me pull up your account here, and that's going to be on your campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, let's go look. Awesome. And for those of you in the chat, if you're asking about the SEO training, it is on our YouTube channel. It is a previous work session, and you can find that. And Greg did put the link in the chat or in the Q&A, and then I will be putting in the description on our YouTube channel. All right, Bertha. So what campaign are we working on?
Let's look at the top one that's coming up this month: processed food versus real food.
Okay, this one, perfect. All right, there's a monthly class. All right, perfect. So we've got our email in there. And you're talking about the actual the settings for the campaign?
Yeah, the second and third message on some of them. I have 2 or 3 other messages to pending, but I stopped there for this time.
Okay, got you. So so they can text in the keyword process and they'll receive this email. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got the one message here. So what's next?
Well, second message would be a reminder of the event, and I generally send it the day before,
Okay.
and then the actual date, which they populated 5 anyway, on the actual date with the Zoom link and bingo card link.
Okay. Okay. And then this is reminder day of, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. So this is going to be reminder day before will be day 1, and then reminder day of will be day 2. When will this event happen?
It's on the 23rd.
The event is on the 23rd. So that means, I believe, so we're going to go to on a specific date. I'm pretty sure if we go, yep. So if we're going to set it, and you can play around with this. So this campaign is going to start on the 21st. And that means that on the 22nd, they're going to get that day before reminder. The 23rd, they'll get their day of reminder.
Oh, so easy. Okay.
That's okay. It took me a while to figure this out as well. 0 always means it's going to go out right away.
Right.
Right.
As soon as they text the word.
That's right. And if you're premium or higher, you have additional options here where you can maybe delay this by a couple minutes if you wanted to, or you can say reminder day before, and note that these are 5 p.m. Central. So I actually, unless that reminder, the day of reminder is for something that's happening that evening or, close to time, I would maybe focus on maybe the 2 days before there's a reminder at 5 p.m., 1 day before reminder at 5 p.m. And then just depending on the time, the actual local time of the event.
That's good to know, but it's 7 p.m. So I figure
perfect.
If they get it at 5 when they get home, and it'd be close enough to the date so they're not scrambling where it is, from the day.
Absolutely.
Before.
Yeah, that's perfect. So all you need to do now is just go into these and write whatever it is that you want to say, link anything that you want to share. And then I imagine you're probably going to attach this. Obviously people can, text the word process to your GetOiling number and they'll be in for the event. But you're probably going to attach this to a landing page as well.
No, I haven't gone that far yet. I've gone this far with the campaign. Now, before we go there, the saved, I've done a few saved replies, but how does that work? Like I do the saved reply first, and then I can go ahead and scroll for it here. Once I'm setting up a new message, then I would look for that saved reply and it would pop in.
Yeah, absolutely. So if there's a type of email that you might send often, so let's just say, for instance, for live events on Zoom, you have a recurring Zoom meeting link, and there is we're about to go live. That can be a saved reply that you create, and then you would be able to go and find that about to go live email from here in the saved reply. Okay,
perfect. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. And then you said for the page, the landing page.
Right. Yeah. So whatever the details of the event are, and Greg, we can connect campaigns to events, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that's a setting there.
Yeah. So here's what I recommend, and this is actually something that you can. Jackie does this, and we've shown this on some of our trainings with her as well. Jackie McLaughlin, who's a platinum. What she does is she creates events, and then she creates a landing page for the event. So when they click the button to register, we're not saying yes, no, maybe like a typical RSVP, because it's all virtual. They're gonna click to get it, and it's gonna take them to a landing page, which is just one of these guys that's got a nice little image. She'll use like this one right here. So a nice little image, information, date, time, enter your information here, and we'll get you, we'll make sure that you have the link to join. And then of course, and we'll send you the replay if it's virtual. Of course, if your thing is in person, then, you might be better off using, say, like just the regular events manager here. But yeah, you want this campaign. Obviously, you can be going out and saying, text this word to this number, text this word to this number. But for the people who aren't doing the texting, then it's going to be advantageous for you to have a page that you can share where people can register themselves. And that's where this campaign gets applied to them. Because as of right now, the only way anybody's going to receive these messages is if they text. But if we want them to be able to get email, then we need a landing page to attach it to.
Okay. Makes sense. That ties all in real well. Okay. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. And we're happy you're here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let me see if, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on just a second. There we go. Okay, so I did have one other person register for a review here, and I want to make sure that Susan Palma, if you're here, raise your hand, let me know. But I'm going to go check real quick to see if you may be requested for us to review in your absence, which we can definitely do. In the meantime, while I'm figuring that out, let's go look at the Q&A real quick and see what kind of questions we have. Okay. So Andrea says, I worry about credibility in what I blog about. I haven't started blogging yet. I've been researching other blogs. Most seem vague and the information is not that valuable. Most lead to a free downloader funnel. Is that enough to get a prospect hooked? Andrea, it's a good question. I want you to maybe visit the idea that imposter syndrome is not our friend. You're worth listening to. Your perspective is one that is going to resonate more with some people than others. And we're looking for the people that we resonate with most. There's not much new under the sun. Other people have said the same things, but people will go to the length of paying you to tell them something that they could also arguably go find on a YouTube channel. So it's your credibility is really in your identity. It's who you are and it's how people identify with you. So write for your person that identifies with you, and they're always going to love what you have to say, and they're going to love it more than if they found it somewhere else. And yeah, that formula you see on other blogs, it's the same for a reason. It's what works. And maybe the blogs that you were reading that you didn't find to be vague, you found to be vague or not substantive, those weren't your people. That wasn't your audience. But I bet that there are some people who are publishing that you actually like to engage with, whose content you actually like to read. So I would stick with that, really kind of asking yourself, like, who is my person? And of course, would I want to read this if I was them? And if the answer is yes to that second question, then you're good. So let me look real quick here because I do want to make sure. Okay, so Susan had a question, and I do want to make sure that we're looking over this together on her site and can give her this feedback because I think that she was maybe not going to be here live today. So I'm going to read this first because it doesn't actually look like, here, let me go over to share. It looks like we've got a built-in theme, which is great. We've got our photo in our story here. Susan, there's a photo in my story and photo that can be added here. It's just an upload button on the page. So you can actually have your face over here to the side and the text on the right. I think that might look a little nicer, but oh wait, nope, just kidding, because you've got you got your whole family here. So what I might consider doing here is maybe take this, or welcome to the oilseed family, and put that up here, right? As opposed to just having our oily story, because that's really going to it's going to resonate a little more closely. So let me hop out of this real quick because I haven't read through the whole question here. She was asking, like to look at other examples of Young Living websites. Okay, we've got, so there's a lot here. So we want to know how to add the drop down that says sign up to our monthly newsletter. That's going to be in your menu. So if you go to our little search bar and you type in the word menu, it's going to actually show you exactly how to set that up. And then you just want to make sure that you're including a link to the landing page for your monthly newsletter sign up in that specific menu item. We want to better understand putting events on the front page. Events are going to show up on your built-in themes. And that is something that shows up automatically on your built-in themes based on the settings we covered earlier today that you can find in your blog settings. It's not something that automatically shows up on a custom homepage. You would want to make maybe, you can make a menu item for events that will take them straight to your website.com/events, or you could have like an image that you make into a button or something like that on your web page that will send them over to that menu page. Customize my front page to healthy food and vitality. So there's actually a whole lot here. We don't have Susan here on the call with this. So what I'd like to do is I want to respond to the rest of this via email because there's a lot. And I want to make sure that those of us who are here live, we can get our questions out of the way. let's see, Angie, let's go ahead and bring you out here real quick, and we can talk about what you are looking for help with. Here we go. Auto talk. Okay, perfect. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Just real quick, on last week we were on and we were working on my vault. So my member vault. So I just want to be sure I'm going in the right direction slowly, so I don't have to delete anything. So a couple questions I have is, the mobile version versus, if someone's on a desktop, and most people are on a mobile version, it seems. I have sent this out to maybe 4 or 5 people on my team. A few have gotten back to me, and it's been really good response. They understand it's just the basics so far. But one question I have is on the Wellness Made Simple education group. So are you logged into that, or?
Yeah, let's go look.
Okay, because I'm trying to look at it at the same time. Okay,
Sure.
so the Wellness Made Simple, yes. So that one, like when they are viewing it, the one section, like it just seems to repeat itself a lot. So it has the graphic at the top, Wellness Made Simple education group, and then it comes down, it's Angie George ... Wellness Made Simple education group. And that's one thing someone asked a couple times, was like, does all of that need to be there, where they have to keep scrolling, to get to the content?
Yeah, so you just do, it's an either or. No, it's not at all.
Okay.
You just go either or, right? Like
remove
this, right? Remove this.
Perfect.
Just, yeah, do one or the other and you'll be fine.
Okay. And then another question was, what I've been trying to do is, there's the member resources, and that's really just the basic, how you get in your virtual office, all of those details. And then the education of Young Living products, I've tried to break that up into categories. So my question is, I noticed somewhere that we get so many classes per vault, or is that so many classes per, how does that work with, I have the pro account?
Yeah, so you have a certain number of vaults and classes, period, or if you have unlimited vaults and classes, then you're unlimited. It's not per vault. So as many as you have access to, you can put any volume of in any vault of any of the things that you can put into a vault, which are pages, discussion rooms, and classes.
Okay.
And here in this case as well, I would definitely recommend if you use a background, like a sort of cover image, just don't put the oily education piece here. Just have the pretty images in the back as an example.
Okay.
And don't even, I wouldn't even fool with this, right? Like just have allow a pretty thing. You don't have to like have the redundancy of that here either.
Okay. So like I've been trying to categorize the Young Living basics, the Ninja Red, the Thieves, and I know that I have to sometimes go back and like drag it up or whatever, but is the education part looking, I guess, I don't know. I don't want it to be cluttered, so I just want it to be easy to navigate, easy to, and there's still so much more to put in there. But I did, what was it that I did on the premium starter bundles? I embedded a sway. So yay, I learned that last week, or on the taking your Facebook group off social media, whatever, in one of those, and it worked. So yay. So it's coming together. So any suggestions as I keep moving forward?
Yeah, so I love the, be aware of redundancies, right? So for instance, if the category is Ningxia Red, all this needs to be called as details and recipes, what's in it, why do you need it? So you don't have to have Ningxia in the title if you've got the category as Ningxia, right? Real minor. I think that this is really excellent, this space here. I would even say this is essential oil basics as opposed to Young Living basics. Right.
Right. Good idea.
Product education, you've got the premium starter bundle here. There's other bundles that you could obviously replicate and put their information in here would be great. And make sure with all of them, because I think this is one of the most valuable ways you can use a member area like this. With all of them, make sure you got these. So this is a discussion prompt. And so this stuff here, like this, right? So scroll through the information on Ningxia Red. This is something that is your lesson copy. So like the body of the lesson. What I would do is for a discussion prompt is really think about what you want them to say or share. Maybe even consider making the font larger here, like a headline font, because the power of using something like this is to get people to put their testimonials on the same page where the products are. Because somebody's here learning about this product, wondering whether they should like spend the money on it, put it in their order. And if they see the stories of people in the community that have had experiences with it, that's going to help influence that decision.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, no, it looks good otherwise.
Well, okay. You'll probably see me next week. So
all right.
I appreciate it. All
Absolutely.
Right, thank you guys. All right.
Sure
Bye.
thing. All right. Thank you guys for sticking around. Susan, I will be in touch. and we certainly look forward to having you guys back. Again, make sure that you check out the additional training on SEO once you're ready to really dive into this strategy. The answer, however, to all of this is to start, right? It's to get a thing done. Even if you just get a little bit done today, save your draft. And then of course, you can continue improving on that moving forward. Macy's like a ghost. What is this? Is she doing that on purpose? That's so cute. Awesome. Hi, Macy. Anyway, all right. Well, hi. We appreciate you guys, and we will be back same time next week. Hope you have a great week and make a blog post this week, you guys. We'll see you later.